Calls to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No, yeah. So I'm not going to swear them in because I probably won't be giving any testimony.
Public hearings none. Finished business, reductions of liens over 50,000. Case number 2021-337, Colossal Corporation owner, location of violation, Hamlin Avenue, St. Cloud, Florida.
Good afternoon, and for the record, Dan Manzara, City Attorney for the City of St. Cloud. So the first case it's called, the two cases on the agenda are obviously the same respondent and the same property in two different cases that were heard. So we'll start with the first one. These are both requests for recommendations of reduction of liens over $50,000. As you know, Mr. Smith, once you make a recommendation, it'll go to the City Council for final approval. The first case, the total fine it has accrued to $66,500 plus administrative costs of $240.80, with a total amount owed of $66,740.80. The property is in compliance. It's been in compliance since March of 2023. The respondent did reach out to the city manager's office, and they worked on a negotiated resolution, and we have signed off on a resolution that would reduce this fine from $66,740.80. I'm sorry, this lien from $66,740.80 to $6,674.08, provided it would be paid within 30 days of final approval by the city council. And we're asking for your recommendation on that today.
Okay. Given the agreement of the parties, I will recommend to the City Commission the acceptance of the proposed reduction of lien.
Thank you.
It's on 337.
Case number 2020-1664, Colossal Corporation owner, location of violation, Hamlin Avenue, St. Cloud, Florida.
And again, this is the same respondent, the same property. In this matter, the fine and lien accrued to $118,651.80. The property was brought into compliance in April of 2024. The fine is made up of $118,400 in fines and administrative costs of $251.80. Again, the respondent reached out to the city manager's office. They worked on a negotiation and come up with a proposed recommended settlement that would be presented to the city council of $12,091.80 to be paid within 30 days of the city council's final approval. And we're asking for your recommendation of approval on that also.
Given the agreement of the parties, I'll recommend approval of that reduction.
We have one other item that's not on agenda we'd like to speak with you about real quick.
Sure.
Just for information. So as you're aware, Mr. Smith, the statute allowed for the creation of school zone cameras. The city is implementing its school zone camera program. We anticipate that they will be live and in person, probably in April, I think is when we're looking at go live date. The ordinance as it provides that the special magistrate shall be the local hearing officer. The code enforcement special magistrate shall be the local hearing officer to hear appeals of those cases. So we just wanted to give you a little heads up. I know you're familiar with it.
Are we going to add those to the code enforcement agenda, or are we going to give them their own time?
Well, that was what I wanted to talk about. We're going to do it on the same, we would like to do it on the same day. We could break it up into two different things. We're kind of working on some stuff internally. Obviously, there'll be a clerk for that, for those hearings also, whether Ms. Clocker serves as clerk for that. I think we're still working that out internally. If she does not, then it may be easier just to break them up into two separate meetings, but it would be at your pleasure as we work through it. That's really one of the questions I wanted to ask you today.
Yeah, depending on how many cases you have is the only, and really my consideration is more for the respondents' time than mine. it may be easier for city staff and respondents if we have, if we did it same day, but a block of time, if you have enough appeals, and that might be the trick, is you might not be getting enough appeals to actually have a full block of time.
Well, we could, if I may, we could just put them right on the agenda, identify them differently on the agenda. Then you could start with the matters, whether they be a code enforcement case or a speed zone camera case, based on whoever shows up. And then so they wouldn't have to, so all the respondents that appear would be heard first.
Yeah, I'd certainly be okay with that, at least as we start. And then if we find that we're getting a lot of appeals and it can support its own block of time, maybe then, I mean, I'm open to a block of time, but I
Yeah.
also want to be respectful to everybody else's, as well as yours and mine in the drive over.
Well, we're going to have to, we would envision that we did have some experience with this in other jurisdictions when the red light cameras were put in place. There were a lot of appeals at first. And then when folks realized the limited avenues to appeal, they weren't appealed so much. So we imagine we might have to do some initial blocks. We probably would expect that the first couple of months they go live, there probably would be a lot of appeals because it's going to be new. City's doing as best they can from a public relations, social media thing. There'll be signs out there, but we anticipate. So we can play that part.
Yeah, and I don't know, my schedule on this Wednesday of the month, I'm open from, my entire afternoon is open. So if you need to push early or you can just play it by ear and see how many appeals you get. And if you have a bunch of appeals and we need to set those for a special block, then I'm open to that.
Well, we could always just, before we send out the notices, just contact you and see if we can move up the 3:00 start, to
Yep.
2 and just get an extra
That'd
hour.
be
in.
perfectly fine with me.
Okay, so we're going to work through that, but we wanted to give you a heads up that that's coming down the road. We appreciate all your assistance with that as we move forward. I did provide you a copy of the statute, as you know, of the city's code,
Got it.
but you're familiar with the statute and how it's all in place. And that's all we have for today.
Okay.
All right? All right.
Clerk, anything?
Next scheduled meeting, March 19, 2025.
And we are adjourned. Is that a new gavel?